I remember walking down the tier, and I remember seeing a kid about your guys' age. He was curled up in a fetal position, crying, because 5 grown men went in there and brutally raped this kid. I can't begin to tell you how racist it is in there. It's like going to a place in the 1960s. You go to the chow hall, it fits 500 people. On the left, all the whites sit. On the right, all the blacks sit. It don't matter if you're racist or not. You gotta stick with your own. That's just the way prison is. You don't associate with another race unless you're dealing with drugs or messing with a homosexual. And yes, there's a lot of homosexuality that goes on. You take guys that got life without parole, meaning they'll never go home, and you stick them in that situation, well, you already know what happens. Ten years later, I got out of that place, and I was sent to Cameron, Missouri. Now this was night and day. This is a level 5 prison. They sent me to a camp. It's a level 1, 2, 3. I felt like I made parole. That was how much of a difference it was. But when I got there, things wasn't any easier for me psychologically. That year that I got there, I went up for parole. And I had waited like 12 and a half years to go up for parole. Now when I got sentenced, 17 years seemed like a lifetime. I couldn't see the end of it. It was impossible for me to comprehend that in my head. But finally, after 12 and a half years, I go up for parole. As soon as I walk into the room, I look to the right, and there's this parole board table, and they got 3 parole officers, and they got a guard and your parole officer in there. When I walked in and looked to the right, they told me, don't talk to them. Sit right here and look straight. Anybody guess who was there? Who? The victims were there. The mother, the sister, the brother, and the father. They were there to protest my release. They were there to say, I don't want this guy to ever get out of prison. When I walked in there, all I could feel was their pain. All I could feel was their sorrow. All I could feel was their hate for me. They hated me. It didn't matter that I was a kid. It didn't matter what happened. All that mattered was I killed their son, and that's all that mattered to them. Rightfully so. So when I walked in there, I told my story, and afterwards, they said, you got anything to say? I said, yeah. Do whatever they want. Whatever they're asking for, do it. After that, they give me an out date. 16 years on 17. They sent me to drug treatment. While I was in drug treatment, it was an 84-day program. 10 days before I was getting released. 10 days after spending 16 years in prison. I fell out the top bunk and hit my head on a metal locker and split it open. I started convulsing on the ground. Blood was squirting everywhere. My bunkie had to give me mouth to mouth because I stopped breathing 5 times. They was going to life flight me to the hospital, but it was thundering out, so they couldn't. So they sent me an ambulance 45 minutes away. On the way to the hospital, I died. When I got to the hospital after they revived me, they did an MRI and found out I had brain cancer. They did surgery immediately and took out as much as they could see. I laid in that hospital for 7 days, chained to a bed. Didn't matter that I was going home. All that mattered was I was a convicted murderer. After that, I went home. And I just remember thinking, this disease I got is going to kill me. This brain cancer I got is going to take my life. It's just a matter of time. So here I am, I spent my whole life in prison, and I'm about to get out, and I couldn't wait for this day to get out to finally have my life back, and then here I am struck with a disease that's going to kill me. All I can think is why? Why? But you know what? I probably didn't deserve the disease, but I deserved everything else that I went through. I put myself in that position. I made the choices at your age that led up to that. I don't want you to feel sorry for me because I did that to myself. You see, life is all about choices. The decisions you make now, no matter how small, ditching school, cheating on tests, having a couple drinks, drinking and driving, getting high, partying, all that is going to affect your future. If you want to see what your future looks like, look at what you're doing today. You can be your own fortune teller. So all you got to do is look at the decisions you're making today. You want to know what it's like? That's what it's going to be like. Here we are. We was just kids, just like you. Bill was like a lot of you guys. Good home, athlete, and everything. You see, prison didn't discriminate. When he went in front of that judge, he didn't care about none of that stuff. He didn't care that he had a family. They didn't care that he was a star athlete. They didn't care that he was loved. He had all kinds of people marching to the courtroom and try to get him out. The judge said, no, you committed a crime against society and you're going to prison. Do your time. That's the way it is. So, if you guys don't want to ever experience prison, you need to start making different choices today. Look at who you're hanging around with. Ask yourself, is this person somebody that's going to care about me? Because of the kids that I hung around with before I went to prison, you think they were there while I was there? No. They didn't even send me a 37-cent stamp. That's how much they cared about me once I got away. Out of sight, out of mind. Thank you, guys.